When we moved in, the apartment walls smelled of old paint and dust. My mother wiped the kitchen table with a damp cloth, her movements quick and certain. My father carried boxes up the stairs, his breathing heavy in the quiet hallways. My little sister Sarah ran from room to room, her laughter echoing off the bare floors. I stood in my new room and just looked at the closet. It was a simple space, meant for a child's clothes and toys. But something about it felt older than the rest of the apartment. The closet itself was small and dark. The door was made of cheap, hollow wood, painted the same pale white as the walls. A long, deep scratch ran near the top, a dark line against the pale surface. I assumed it was from the last family, maybe a careless mover or a tall piece of furniture. Inside, a thin metal rod stretched from one side to the other with one single wooden hanger left behind. At night, I learned the closet door did not close all the way. It left a thin, unchanging line of darkness on the worn carpet, a sliver of black that my eyes were always drawn to. That first night, I lay awake listening to the new sounds of the building. The refrigerator hummed a low, constant note. Pipes in the walls would occasionally groan and sigh. I arranged my pillows and tried to find a comfortable position, but my gaze kept drifting back to the closet door. It seemed to watch me from across the room. The scratch near the top looked like a closed eye in the dim glow of the hallway light. I told myself it was just a closet, just a door, just a dark space where I would hang my shirts in the morning. I was just nervous in a new place. I finally fell into a restless sleep, the kind that feels thin and fragile. My dreams were a jumble of moving boxes and unfamiliar hallways. When I woke up, the sun was not yet up, and the room was bathed in a pre-dawn gray. The air was cold. The closet door was open a few inches wider than I remembered leaving it. I sat up, my heart starting a slow, heavy beat against my ribs. I stared at the dark gap for a long time, listening. There was no sound. I got out of bed, walked over, and pushed it firmly shut. It clicked into place. Yeah. The first time I saw her, I was certain I was dreaming. It was late, and the entire apartment was wrapped in a profound quiet. The only light came from my sister's unicorn nightlight, which cast a faint, colorful glow down the hall and into my room. I lay perfectly still in my bed, watching the sliver of darkness where the closet door hung open. At first, it was just a shadow, deeper and more solid than the others. Then slowly, it took shape. A woman in a long white dress hung by her neck from the metal rod. Her dark hair fell forward in a sheet, completely hiding her face. Her dress was startlingly clean, a pale and luminous white against the oppressive dark of the closet. Her feet, which were bare, dangled motionlessly a few inches above the floor. She did not struggle or twitch. She just hung there, swaying very gently, as if caught in a breeze only she could feel. I could not breathe. My heart was a frantic drum in my ears, so loud I was sure it would wake my parents. I squeezed my eyes shut, then opened them again, and she was gone. The closet was empty. The single wooden hanger was all that remained on the rod. That night, I did not tell anyone. The vision returned. It did not always happen at night. Once, while I was sitting at my desk doing my homework in the afternoon, I glanced up and saw her through the open closet door, hanging as still as a photograph. Another time, she seemed smaller, as if she were farther back in the closet, a miniature doll of a woman. Then one night, she was closer, her bare feet almost touching the threshold of the closet. I started leaving my bedroom door open a crack, hoping the light and sounds from the rest of the apartment would keep her away. I listened for the sound of a rope creaking. I plugged in a nightlight of my own. I tried to tell my mother. She was in the kitchen, tying a neat braid in my sister's hair, humming a little tune.
Are you scared of the dark, sweetie?
I said yes, but I could not bring myself to say the whole thing, to describe the woman and the dress and the stillness. My father, when I tried to tell him the room felt wrong, just laughed. He tousled my hair and said that all old houses make strange noises at night. My sister Sarah told me that monsters only live under beds, never in closets. I felt a cold knot of frustration and fear tighten in my stomach. Yeah. I decided I had to show them. I needed them to see. I waited until my parents were sitting together in the living room, watching television. The sound a low murmur. My heart was pounding. I walked in and tugged on my mother's sleeve. "Come look," I said, my voice barely a whisper. She looked at my father. Then she looked back at me with a tired smile. I pulled her by the hand and led her down the hallway to my room. I pointed a trembling finger at the closet. I was sure she would be there. I could feel her presence, a chill not from the temperature.
What is it, honey? It's just your closet, my mother said.
She walked over and opened the door all the way. It was empty. My shirts hung neatly on their hangers. My jackets hung neatly on their hangers. A box of old toys sat on the floor. My mother looked at me, amused. She gave the door a little push. I heard the familiar click as the latch caught.
Now get ready for bed.
I went to bed with a small, hard knot of terror. It was not a game. I was alone in it. Night after night, the same thing. The woman came and went. She was a silent fixture of my room, a piece of furniture only I could see. Sometimes she seemed to watch me from behind the curtain of dark hair. I could not see her eyes, but I felt their weight. She remained pale and absolutely still. One evening, she slowly lifted one hand. She placed it flat against the inside of the closet door. Her fingers did not bend or curl. I saw the slow, deliberate press of her palm against the wood. The next morning, my hands were clammy and cold. I tried to be brave. I found a small brass bell in a box of old Christmas decorations. I tied it carefully to the closet doorknob with string. If the door moved, the bell would ring. I would have proof, but I never heard the bell at night. The silence remained absolute, broken only by my ragged breathing. Maybe she didn't need to open the door. Maybe the door wasn't there for her at all. The nights grew longer, or at least they felt that way. The world outside my window turned dark earlier and earlier. My dreams were thin, anxious things, filled with images of cold metal, the texture of rope. I stopped sleeping well. At school, I would rest my head on my arms. The drone of the teacher's voice, a distant hum. Mrs. Davis asked if I was feeling sick. I just shook my head and said no. At home, I sat on my bed and watched the closet until my eyes burned. Shadows in the corners began to swim and shift. The closet door became the center of my world. One night, the woman stayed longer than ever. She hung in the closet and did not sway. The air grew heavy and cold. My throat felt tight, as if a thread were being pulled around it. I could not breathe properly. I knew I had to do something. Slowly, I slid out of bed. My feet made no sound on the worn carpet. I crept toward the closet. My shadow stretched long and thin. I reached out, fingers trembling, and touched the cold brass knob. My hand shook so badly the little bell stayed quiet. I held my breath. I turned the knob. I pulled the door open. It swung inward with a soft whisper. Hall light spilled into the small space, illuminating every corner. It was empty. Clothes hung on one side. A small cardboard box sat on the floor. The metal rod was clean and bare. No rope, no shadow, no woman. Relief washed over me, almost making me laugh. I wanted to run back and hide under the covers. Behind me, the floor creaked, a soft, wet sound like a foot on a damp board. I turned around slowly. The air hit my face, suddenly colder, like an open freezer door beside me. A strange, earthy smell filled my nostrils, dug up soil, old rain. My eyes adjusted to the dim light, and my breath caught. Relief vanished, replaced by a horror so pure and cold, it felt like ice water flooding my veins. She stood there, not in the closet, not hanging. She stood very close, right behind my bed, where I had just been lying. Her white dress was still impossibly white, a stark shape in the gloom. Her long dark hair still hid her face, falling like a funeral veil. She did not move. She simply rested her pale, long-fingered hands on the footboard of my small bed, as if she were just observing the empty space. The rope was gone from her neck. In its place, I could see the pale, unbroken line of her long, thin throat. And then she smiled, a slow parting of unseen lips. I tried to speak, to call for my mother, but my voice was a thin, useless thread of air. I blinked, trying to clear my vision, and the room seemed to stretch and warp around me. The light from the hallway hummed with a new, menacing frequency. And then I heard it. The little brass bell on the closet knob began to ring softly, a tinny, cheerful sound in the thick, empty silence of the closet behind me. It rang on its own. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was not a voice at all. It was the scrape of dry leaves, the sound of many small, brittle things breaking at once. The sound slid into my skin and made my bones ache. I wanted to run, but my legs would not obey. My body felt heavy, as if it were made of stone. She leaned closer, her movement unnaturally smooth. Her breath smelled like cold rain and damp earth. As her face came into the faint light from the hall, I saw her eyes. They were not eyes. They were empty, deep pits of darkness. I felt a strange, gentle pulling sensation from the bed, like someone was carefully lifting a blanket off of me. The world went thin and quiet, the colors draining away into a wash of gray. The woman, the room, everything began to fade. The last thing I saw was the white dress rising, moving away from the bed as if the air itself were taking her weight, lifting her upward. She floated toward the ceiling, her form becoming hazy and indistinct. The pulling sensation intensified, a cold draft lifting me from the floor. My feet left the carpet. The bell on the closet doorknob rang one last time, a frantic, desperate jingle in the sudden, complete darkness. Then it stopped. A soft thud echoed from the closet rod.